Everyone. Thanks to everyone for joining us today to talk about this critical issue. I'm going to be really brief because what we're doing here today is very simple. Since the beginning of Trump's tariff war, I've heard a consistent message from just about every single small business owner I've talked to. Trump's tariffs pose an existential threat to their business. And it's really not hard to understand why. The trade war that President Trump launched in April is perhaps the single greatest undermining of American small business we've ever seen. He skyrocketed tariffs so high that small business owners literally cannot get their product from overseas. He gave zero runway to small businesses so they could think through and explore alternate business plans to adjust to this new tariff landscape. And his tariff actions continue to be so erratic and unpredictable that these small business owners have no way to plan or make projections for the future. Just take the latest announcement on China tariffs. There was so much confusion as we were trying to figure out what happened. It's difficult when our international trade policy has been communicated in unintelligible, all caps social media posts on Truth Social. Since these tariff talks started, small businesses have been ringing the alarm about what this means for them and their bottom line. In addition to the 24/7 job of running a small business, they're having to scream and shout from the rooftops, do full media campaigns, go on local and national television and radio, and try to get the attention of leaders to be spared from this tariff war. But this administration is not listening. Back in April, I raised these small businesses' concerns with the Commerce Secretary and the U.S. Trade Representative and asked them for an exemption for small businesses. No response. Just last week, I questioned the head of the Small Business Administration at a House Small Business Committee hearing. I asked her one simple question: would you support a tariff exemption for small businesses? She refused to do so. This administration has made clear they serve and listen to only one kind of business, whoever has enough resources to pay off the president. Well, small businesses don't have millions of dollars to personally lobby the president, but they are the backbone of our economy and they deserve a level playing field. They employ 59 million people in the United States. So while this administration ignores the small business community, we decided to take action in Congress. And let's not forget, Article 1 of the Constitution gives Congress the authority to levy tariffs. This tariff war is an egregious overreach of executive power. The president has taken tariff authority away from Congress, and the majority has allowed him to do it. This shouldn't be a partisan issue. This is simply existential for America's 34 million small businesses. So that's why we're taking action today. I'm proud to introduce the Small Business Liberation Act with Congressman Chris Pappas to exempt America's small businesses from President Trump's tariffs. The good news is that this bill has already been introduced in the Senate. We have the exact same bill text here in the House, so if we can get the majority leaders to take up this bill, we could pass it today. And that's what we're calling on the Republican majority to do. We've got the bill. We've got it in both chambers. Bring it to the floor today. The bill has already been endorsed by more than 140 small business owners across the country, and we're so grateful to have some of them with us today. And they are truly the embodiment of the American dream. They're innovators, they're job creators, they're economic drivers. They're among the hardest working workers you will ever find. But because of this administration's decisions, everything they've worked so hard to build is being taken away from them. It's unacceptable, but we're going to do everything we can to stop that from happening. So with that, I will turn it over to my co-lead on this bill, Congressman Pappas.
Okay. Well, thanks very much, Representative Morrison. I really appreciate your comments and for your leadership on this issue. And I want to thank all the small businesses that are joining us today. I want to give a special shout out to Mark Carpenter. He's from Brentwood, New Hampshire. You'll hear from him a little bit later. I had the opportunity to meet with him at his small business on Monday of this week and hear firsthand about how the tariffs are hurting his operation and ability to meet the needs of his customers. I know the same is true for businesses across my district, across different sectors, and certainly across this country. We need to be making more things here in America, and to support our companies and workers, And we can do that with smart industrial policy, but I don't believe this haphazard system of tariffs that we've seen the administration pushing is going to get us toward that end goal. It's only going to create more disruption, more chaos in the economy, raise costs for businesses and consumers alike. So I'm deeply concerned with what I've heard from businesses across my district, as well as families who are concerned about increased costs right now. We've heard from over 1,200 constituents in my district about the tariffs alone, and they've shared a lot of different stories about how this policy is really hurting their business, making things more expensive, and underscores the need for action right now. So that's why I'm proud to be able to work with Representative Morrison to introduce this legislation that I think is incredibly common sense right now. It would give certainty to small businesses like those that we'll hear from today so that they can navigate a volatile economy and avoid being hit with a huge bill that's going to cause them to either raise their prices or to not invest in the future and not be able to continue to grow their business and hire more employees. So we're trying to provide some certainty as best we can to allow them to continue the work that they do best, which not only drives our economy in our states, but also defines the character of our communities too. So this has been a very chaotic few months, certainly. What we're talking about is making sure that our economy is working for everyone, that it's managed appropriately. And these tariffs certainly are moving us in the wrong direction, but we've got a chance in Congress to do something about it. And we're going to look for every opportunity possible to provide relief and provide certainty. So with that, I'll turn it back over to the host, and just grateful for all the voices from the small business community that we'll hear from shortly.
Thank you, Congressman Pappas. We will now turn it over to Beth Beneke, founder of Busy Baby.
All right. Thank you, both representatives, for giving us this opportunity to tell our stories and how these horrible tariffs are affecting our small businesses. For those who don't know me, I am a mom who invented a baby product and took it to market. And I have been advocating really hard for what we have going in front of both the House and Senate now to relieve small businesses from these tariffs. I was in a situation 9 weeks ago where I had to abandon my products in China because I could not afford the 145% tariff that I would have to pay when those products got here. I have finally been able to get those products out to sea, but they will not get here until mid-July. Between now and then, I am virtually out of stock, which means I don't have hardly any revenue coming in. I still have my operating expenses. I still have to pay my lease. I have to pay my insurance. I have to pay my employees. And right now, my expenses outweigh my revenue. I have about 5 weeks left before I have to make some serious decisions about my business. So we need these tariffs to go away immediately. And we need people from both sides of the aisle to support America's small businesses.
Thank you so much, Beth. We will now turn it over to Barton O'Brien, founder of Bay Dog.
Hi, thank you very much for having me as well. I really appreciate it. My company, Bay Dog, makes awesome canine adventure gear here on we're based here on the shores of the Chesapeake Bay. And I want to use my quick 2 minutes to make one very simple point, and that is why tariffs do not work now, nor have they ever worked to reshore jobs. And I'll do it by way of an example. This product is the Chesapeake harness. It's my most basic, best-selling product. Now, when I founded my company 8 years ago, I priced out exactly how much I would have to charge to break even based on what it would cost to make this product in the United States. And it was well over $100, about $115 that I would have to charge. At that price, I would sell 0 dog harnesses and I would have no company. So we looked overseas, we found awesome production partners, and today this product retails for $33.50. Now, the concept of a tariff bringing that manufacturing back home is that you're going to tax this product and make it so expensive that I'm actually better off making it in the United States. But that will never happen for the simple purpose that a tariff can make this more expensive, but what it doesn't do is lower the cost of domestic production. As long as I still have to charge over $100 for this product, I don't have a business. And that's why the tariff will never give us a reason to reshore those jobs. And the last thing I'll say is what's so frustrating is I know that there are members of the administration that know this. Okay. Secretary Scott Bessent was asked specifically on April 27th of this year about my company, Baydog. And his answer was, and I quote, "The goal is not to manufacture dog collars in the US." So my question to the secretary is, if you understand this, why are you putting tariffs on my category of goods? Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Barton. We will now turn it over to Amy Leinbach, owner of Big B Little B.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here and especially for all of your efforts. I run a company called Big B Little B along with my daughter Marlo. We are both inventors. We hold multiple US patents on products that make daily routines easy for families. All of our products are manufactured in China since US manufacturing has not been and still is not available to us. We've been building this business for almost a decade now through unbelievable challenges. When I look back, I can't believe what we've been through. But even through the impossible days, I always forced myself to see the light at the end of the tunnel. On days when it was very dark, I saw it. And finally, this past March, we got to enjoy that light. We'd finally achieved our goal. Our self-funded business was no longer rolling our personal funds into the business. We could allow it to grow naturally. It could sustain itself. And it was such a joy. We were enjoying the light at the end of the tunnel. And 2 weeks later, that light was extinguished with the tariffs, because now that money that used to be used to grow the business, and then that money that was going to support my family is going to pay for tariffs, which don't do anything for our business, don't do anything for our family. This is not a hypothetical situation. What could this do to small businesses? No, this is what it's doing to our small business now. If leadership doesn't protect us, this is what will happen to small businesses all across the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. We will now turn it over to Mark Carpenter, the creator of Gentech.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm dialing in remotely, so apologize for any technical difficulties. But I just want to thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Congressman Pappas and Congressman Morrison, for your leadership on this very, very important topic. I'm the founder of Exempt Safety Canopies, a company bootstrapped from my garage in rural New Hampshire. I invented the first generator tent to allow safe outdoor use of portable generators during power outages, protecting families from carbon monoxide poisoning, fire, and electrocution. We actually started with 100% US manufacturing, and we still maintain domestic production. But US production costs are often 4 times higher, while the market only allows a modest premium for pricing. To maintain quality and safety while staying affordable, we expanded carefully into trusted international suppliers. Tariffs have become our single greatest threat. Our newest product, fully designed in the US, simply cannot be cost-effectively sourced domestically. Tariffs have already added 30% to our costs. If the tariffs return to expected levels in August, our cost hit will be over 100%. We will still launch the product. Our production investment has already been made, but our margins will drop to unsustainable levels. That puts the rest of our innovation roadmap at serious risk. Larger corporations have secured exemptions while bad actors continue skirting tariffs through loopholes. Small businesses, like all you're hearing from today, without lobbyists or legal teams, are left carrying the burden. An exemption would protect our growth momentum. In the last 2 years, we've grown revenue by 80%, expanded employment by 40%, and held expense increases to 30%. We've also led national efforts to improve generator safety. Without the relief, the momentum stalls. This bill reflects the kind of balance and consideration small businesses need. This is urgent. Our product launch is in motion now. Tariff instability has already disrupted supplier and partner plans. If the expected hikes take effect in August, we may be forced to scale back or delay 2 additional US designed safety critical products that are planned for 2026 launch. We're not asking for special treatment. We're just asking for stability, consistency, and balance in trade policy. Small businesses need the ability to plan, to invest, to innovate, and to grow while protecting American consumers and maintaining fair competition. So thank you again for your time. Thank you for supporting small businesses, and thank you very much for your leadership.
Thank you, Mark. We'll turn it over to David Conway, co-founder of Purcell.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Conway. I'm the founder of Purcell, and we're in Santa Cruz, California. I started Purcell after spending almost 10 years in the United States Coast Guard. I sailed around the world, and one thing that stuck with me is I saw pollution everywhere on remote and even sometimes uninhabited islands, and the waste was overwhelming. That experience stuck with me, and that's what drove me to start this company. And we're focused on reducing food and plastic waste. I've sold my car, house, pretty much everything except my surfboard, and put it into building this company. And while I understand and even empathize with the idea of bringing strategic manufacturing back to the United States, the reality for small businesses is very different. We manufacture bulk food dispensers, which you can see behind me. And the primary manufacturing process we use is called injection molding. We quoted domestic production, and the cost in the US was over 10 times higher. And this is not feasible for a company of our size. And additionally, the infrastructure does not exist for what we do. And frankly, I don't think we're trying to bring back low skill and low wage jobs. What's been especially frustrating, to echo what my the previous guy was saying, is watching large corporations, the very ones with the capital and scale to actually onshore or relocate production, get exemptions. Apple is one of the richest companies on earth, and they received an exemption despite them manufacturing the exact high-tech products these policies were supposedly meant to bring back. Doesn't make any sense. Meanwhile, small businesses like mine, ours, are without lobbyists or deep pockets. Will have to take out massive loans or shut down to make this work or not work. And those loans, which are like being proposed, are a risk to us and a gift to the already thriving banks and investors. In short, these rules don't apply fairly. If the tariffs are here to stay, we need real tools to make onshoring feasible, grants, incentives, and especially access to a workforce that's ready to build, which increasingly seems less and less likely. Right now, it feels like we're being told to climb a ladder that's missing the first 10 rungs. So there's my piece. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, David. We'll turn it over to Ethan Frisch, the co-founder of Burlap and Barrel.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks to Representative Morrison and Pappas for this invitation. This is obviously an important issue, and particularly for us as a spice company. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Burlap and Barrel. We're a social enterprise, a single origin spice company. We work with small farms in 30 different countries, mostly very small producers who have never exported before. We have shipments coming in on a weekly basis, several times a week, bringing in products that simply cannot be grown in the United States, but are obviously key to American food and traditions, from cinnamon and apple pie to vanilla and ice cream. These are ingredients that simply cannot be grown for geographical and climate reasons in the United States, and nor would we want them to. We work with high skill farmers and producers who have a real expertise, and you can taste that in the final product. Personally, my background is in restaurant kitchens and in NGOs. I left a restaurant chef job to move to Afghanistan, where I worked for a large NGO alongside the Allied military presence there. I started this business after coming across wild cumin in Afghanistan and starting to bring it home to share with friends in the restaurant industry. I started it out of my one-bedroom apartment in Queens, New York, with no money, no experience, having no idea what I was doing. Today, we import about 100 tons a year. We have 20 employees, all domestically, including our customer service team in a half a dozen different states. We work closely with many other domestic small businesses from our customers who are restaurants and manufacturers of all kinds of food products. to our vendors, shippers, co-packers, et cetera. So we have a strong domestic presence, even being a company that's focused on imports. I think the hardest part of this for me has been to see the way that America is being reframed in the eyes of the rest of the world. You know, the climate in which we started this business and that we have operated in for decades is that America is open for business with the rest of the world, and that's for everybody's benefit. And with this presentation, the presentation of these tariffs, that's really being called into question, and it has implications on the relationships that we have with suppliers around the world, even beyond the financial cost of the tariffs. This represents an existential threat to our business. 25% of our sales come from products imported from Vietnam and India, both countries with very high tariff rates planned. And now is the time of year when we place all of our big orders for the holiday season. So it comes at a particularly difficult time. I appreciate all of the work that's being done on this, and thanks for including me.
Thank you, Ethan. We're going to turn it over to Mike Bray, founder of Bray Corp.
Thank you. Thank you, representatives, for introducing this bill. It's very much needed. My name is Mike Bray. I'm president of Bray Corp, best known for operating the Hobbyworks stores in the Washington, D.C. area. We sell trains, models, remote control cars, all the cool stuff. Through our over 200 suppliers, we source products from all over the world, primarily Germany, Mexico, Taiwan, Japan, and of course, China. Ours is an industry with nearly year-long lead times required to prepare for the busy and critical holiday selling seasons. Yet in the past few months, we've received thousands of price changes from our suppliers, with more being announced every week, straining our resources, eating up our cash, and hurting our bottom line. Tariff increases hit small businesses harder because we don't have the ability to easily move production. By shielding small businesses for some period of time from the impact of these hastily applied import taxes, this bill helps businesses like mine and those I deal with continue to survive and thrive. The Constitution of the United States grants Congress, not the president, the sole authority to levy tariffs. So we need Congress to consider the needs of small and mid-sized businesses across America. We need Republicans, historically a friend to business, to stand up for and protect the interests of our employees and our customers by taking back their legislative power and joining with Democrats to pass this bill. If import taxes are needed in specific circumstances, then they should be applied as they have been in the past, in a thoughtful, measured, and predictable way that advances the cause of American businesses without hurting the people that run and work and shop at those same businesses. And I just want to say, shout out to Barton, who gave one of many reasons why tariffs don't work above and beyond the negative impact of the taxes on American businesses. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike, and thank you to all of our wonderful speakers and their small businesses. With that, we are going to transfer into the question and answer portion of the call. If I could have all of our speakers with cameras on for the question and answer part. And then to our press, if you would like to ask a question of Congresswoman Morrison, Congressman Pappas, or any of our small business owners, please raise your hand. The function to raise your hand is at the bottom of your Zoom screen, that hand symbol. We will then be able to unmute you and you will be able to ask your question. This will be audio only, so your camera will remain off to the press. Once you're unmuted, please start by stating your name and your outlet before you ask your question, and please state if you're directing your question to any particular speaker. I'm going to give folks a moment to raise their hands. Just want to make sure everyone has an opportunity to ask a question. Again, you raise your hand at the bottom of the screen to ask a question.
Maybe that is just so common sense, Maddie, that there are no questions.
Good point. I'll go to you, Barton.
Thank you. I just wanted to make an additional point. I know Ethan mentioned that he was in Afghanistan with an NGO. David said he was in the Coast Guard. I know Beth was in the Army. I served 3 combat tours in Iraq as a U.S. Marine. We're all good people who love our country, and the economic reality is we're not able to produce our products in the United States, or we absolutely would. Um, it's a lot tougher to run a business when your supply chain is as long as it is, but that's what the modern economy looks like. So, um, it's not about loving your country; it's about math, and the numbers don't add up, and those in the administration know it.
Absolutely. I will pass it off to Hosea. Hosea, did you have a question? I don't think we can hear you. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to Mike Taylor.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Taylor. I am a custom home builder just outside of Washington, D.C. First, I want to thank the Republican Morrison and Republican Pappas. Thank you for the effort and the time that what you're trying to put forth. Just a quick question, I guess that's probably on everyone's mind. If the bill does not pass, do we have any other options? It seems that the mood of the country is going one way and then the other way, and I'm just curious: is there truly a plan B? Is truly affecting my business from a supply chain, and there's so many components in a single family home, from lumber, shingles, plumbing fixtures, you name it. And I'm seeing increases that I truly cannot pass it on to be competitive. I'm building about 10 to 12 houses a year, uh, pretty much custom homes. But again, I truly appreciate what you're doing, and my question is there an option if we don't make this bill?
Mike, I appreciate the question and thank you for your work. You're an important member of the economy, just like everyone I'm looking at on this screen. I think what is so important right now is that Americans stay engaged and are in communication with their elected representatives in Congress, in the House and the Senate, and at the local level too. We know this is very unpopular policy across the country. And if the American people speak up enough, the president eventually will concede that this is not what the American people want. So I think it's really important to stay engaged and to keep speaking up. I appreciate that. I know that Congressman Pappas and I are going to do everything we can in the House to push this bill across. And some of that will be from constituents talking to their representatives saying, sign on to this bill, let's get it passed. I don't know if you have anything you wanted to add, Representative Pappas.
Yeah. No, this represents one of many different efforts underway to address the damage that's being caused by these tariffs. And frankly, this bill is not the most efficient way to deal with the problem. Really, that is for the president to back off of these haphazard tariffs and to reset the conversation on tariffs back to where it was at the beginning of the year, which is, as many of you have been developing new products and figuring out how to serve your customers over the course of this year. That's where you were as you were thinking about how you were going to, plan for the future. So what we want to see happen here is a number of different things. One, the administration to back off the tariffs. Two, we could see action in Congress. This bill is one effort to provide direct relief to the small business community. As so many of you have put it, really important to understand that small businesses don't have armies of lobbyists, lawyers, and accountants at their disposal. They really need the relief now to be able to make decisions and plan and not take a huge hit to their bottom line. In addition to that, there's other legislation out there, including bills that would remove the tariffs on Canadian and Mexican products. And that is an effort that right now is bipartisan in the House to try to get a discharge petition to bring those bills to the floor, one of which has already passed the United States Senate. And then the other way that this can be addressed is through the courts, too. And we have seen court action that is looking to interpret the Constitution and the power that really does rest with Congress in terms of levying tariffs that I believe the administration is going well beyond, at least in terms of their emergency authority that they're trying to invoke here to issue these tariffs. So there are a number of ways that we can address this. Again, the quickest way to get a resolution is for the administration to heed the calls that we're hearing universally across the country from job creators, from entrepreneurs, from folks that are in your position. You guys know your business better than anyone else. And I think we really need to be listening to you in figuring out how to move forward. And there are so many other challenges we have to get at. From shoring up supply chains to investing in workforce to providing access to capital for our small businesses. That's really what we should be spending our time on right now, not dealing with this self-inflicted crisis that is just causing a lot of chaos. So I appreciate you all speaking out.
Thank you, representatives. I'll open the floor to any last comments from our small business owners.
I got one for you, Maddie. And again, Barton, credit to him for pointing this out. One of the things that people have that has gotten swept under the rug here is how these tariffs actually help the foreign businesses compete more effectively against the American businesses. And they do that because as he correctly pointed out, that they raise the prices all across the board. And so what that does is it doesn't lower the price for us, the importer. It raises the price high enough that now Chinese companies can sell directly to the American consumer. Now, the price is still higher for them because they have to pay the tariff still has to get paid. But the delta between what we have to do to get it here and what they have to do to get it to the American consumer allows them to swoop in and undercut our costs, sometimes with our very own products. And that's just one of the many ways in which this is a 100-year-old solution to a 35-year-old problem. And that point needs to be made clear. In addition to the people who are importing tea and importing spices and importing things that you simply cannot get in this country. Who are we helping here by doing that? Nobody.
And we'll go to Mark.
So I really appreciate the opportunity to be participating in this panel. All of your stories are so in line with what we're experiencing. I have tremendous respect for every one of you. My staff has put together a white paper that we would openly share with anyone that actually articulates to the best of our ability the impact of these tariffs on our business. And I will openly share it with anybody that wants to get a hold of us. We think that this message is so crucially important. And to your comments, Michael and Barton, this is really the largest threat to small businesses that we have seen in my lifetime anyways. I just really hope that Representative Pappas, Representative Morrison, that you get the support that you need in Congress. And I stand firmly to help you in any way I can.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your stories and your work. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Congresswoman Morrison for some final closing remarks.
Well, thank you, Maddie. And I just want to thank again all of our small business owners who joined us today. Thank you for your testimony. Thank you for your advocacy. Thank you for taking the precious little time you have out of your extremely busy days running a small business to share why this need for an exemption is so urgent. I'd just like to reiterate that we have this bill ready to go in the House and the Senate. My message to small businesses is to keep getting loud. We're going to keep fighting for you. We're going to keep fighting for the relief that you need. And as you heard, about half of the small businesses we have on here are veteran owned. I want to thank you for your service and thank you for pointing that out, Barton. These are proud Americans. They want our country to thrive and they are building the economy for us to do so. So we need immediate action on this. Thank you again to everyone for your time. Please know that we're with you.